This is my good friend and colleague, Paul Kirschbaum. I'm Leslie Wooten. It's 10:33. Let's get into it. Today's topic, finding a job in the hospitality industry. Yes or no, Paul? Getting a job in the hospitality industry is easy.
Yes.
Yes?
Very,
Okay. Okay.
very easy.
So how so? Why is it easy?
I think it's just the job market. I mean, pre-COVID, they were hiring any warm body, let's be honest. Which I'm highly against. I think you should just be hiring for somebody to hire for hired sake, to have somebody there. To me, it's insanity.
Sure. Yeah. No, I totally agree on labor. If you're just trying to match your labor projections to bodies on your schedule, you're not going to get the results you want. So where you could find one or two people that could do the job, or 6 or 7 people if you just take the moment. But like you said, like getting the job is easy. And you said before, let me see if I can get this correct, and I'd like for you to talk a little bit about this, is everyone needs to work in the hospitality industry for at least some short amount of time. Still true?
Yes,
Why?
absolutely. I think everybody needs to work in the hospitality industry for a short period of time, front and back, both
Okay.
sides, to appreciate when you do go out and how hard these people work. You'll never get mad at a server for something you know is happening because of the kitchen. Why would you punish a server who's probably doing a great job, or doing a great job, for something the kitchen did? Like, oh, I'm gonna tip less because the food took longer.
Right.
No.
I'm completely with you. And we said that on tipping, is that my tip, I know, goes to the server. And if I can learn that it's like a tip pooled or something, I'm going to tip accordingly. But I know that my tip is for service. My payment is for the production from the restaurant or wherever it is that I am, the hotel or whatever it might be. But the tip that I'm giving is going to this person. And if the food's terrible, or it takes too long, or the atmosphere is garbage, but the service was incredible, I'm going to tip based on the service. I'm going to come back based on the other things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the reason why I think everybody should do it, the main reason is just insight, just pure insight. You see the day-to-day, what they go through, and understand. People think they make a lot of cash. They get cash, but they don't make a lot of money.
Sure. It's a fast-paced, fast-paying job that, I remember waiting tables, and I was the traditional, typical server, bartender. You pay the bills from the money you earned right before the bills are due. So if rent was due on the 1st, the 29th, 30th, 31st, I was working my tail off to earn the money just for rent. And I could earn rent in 3 days. And I wish I could go back and I'd earn rent on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then I'd earn other bills on the 4th, 2nd, or 4th, 5th, 6th, and then start paying my bills off maybe by the 10th or 12th. Start creating a savings between the 12th and the 18th. And then money after that was like, but I didn't do that at all.
No, neither did I. Well, that's the thing. Like you can't pick up any shifts the last month. Everybody wants those shifts. Right. If you want to get rid of a shift, if you want to plan a day off, do it then end of the month.
Right. So let's go back to getting the job. Simple courtesy in the hospitality. The way you'd want to treat guests in your own home is how I see kind of the hospitality industry. If you can do that, if you can consider what you would do if somebody was in your own home, you can work in the hospitality industry. Would you agree that that's the basics of the job, treating people as if they were in your own home?
Yeah, I mean the basics.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to put, I mean that is, we talk about this all the time. I'll take soft skills over hard skills any day of the week.
Yeah. Then the hard skills being like running a point of sale or managing people or carrying a tray or whatever. But if you know what you need to do to just take care of people in your own home who are coming to visit, keeping it clean, keeping it organized, having something available to offer them to drink, to eat, timing it out. If you have that general principle about just courtesy in your own home, for example, I think you'll agree with me. You would do great in the hospitality industry. And just that knowledge of what you would do of inviting somebody into your home is the knowledge that you need to take to your first interview.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't need to see a whole bunch of experience, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and
depending on the position.
spoiler alert for anyone watching this or anybody who's worked with me before. I've got a big soapbox on this one, and it has everything to do with experience and being able to define that. And when employers can't define that, and for any of you who are looking for a job, I want to talk to you about what experience means and what it doesn't mean. But let's talk about getting started and getting your foot in the door. What are the jobs, or what is the job that someone new to the industry can expect to do when they're starting out?
It depends if it's front of the house or back of the house. If you gravitate to one side, I would say really hostess, busser, barback, or I mean, maybe barback's one more step up. But let's say hostess, busser, and dishwasher.
Sure.
I'd
Okay,
say
so hostess, you got a busser,
yeah.
you got a dishwasher, bar back if it's a bar, a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like for those three, hostess, busser, and dishwasher in general, because there are some, every place is different.
Sure.
You don't need any experience. They can train you. You can be trained on the job. You go straight into work. There's not the dishwasher. There's not a lot of training going on. Hostess, a little bit more, and I can get into that where I think there should be more. The most important people in your restaurant are your hostess and your dishwasher, because you can't function without those two things, depending on the style of restaurant.
Now,
but
from
yeah,
a learning development standpoint, I'll just disagree here. I'm like, I think they all need training, like every single one of them. And dishwasher, I'm like, yeah, we know how to wash dishes. I'm like, yeah, but we got to go over safety. We got to go over personal protective equipment. We got to go over standards of communication. And even if that training takes half a day so they learn communication, where to find this, and to make them feel comfortable in the home before they go do the dirtiest job in the whole kitchen, the most important job in the whole kitchen, or the hardest job in the whole kitchen, whatever you want to call dishwashing. I definitely think that taking a moment, half a day or a whole day, whatever it is, and acclimate them into your business is going to make that tough job feel a little bit better, because you feel welcomed into the building. You get to know people, and then people in the kitchen, people in the front of house aren't just, oh, it's the new dishwasher. I'm like, no, that's Leslie. He's the new dishwasher, so that we know who that is. And I think that's so important just for the training, where the training might not be here's how to wash dishes so much, but here's an introduction to the business that you're coming into.
Yeah, I mean, your orientation, the basic orientation.
Yeah.
But you go look at like server, or you need a little bit. You need a menu test. You need to know how to run use POS. You need a little bit more hard skill training than you do, at other positions, depending on how it's set up. I mean, if you have an automatic dishwasher, you don't have to worry about, I had places that had night clean crew coming in. You never had to touch the dishwasher. They did all that stuff for you.
Wow.
All
Even
thing
the
I had to do
organization of dishes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had that was my favorite job of all time. I was an intern in West Palm Beach, and it was at a hotel, big hotel. I'm not gonna say which one. And I was in banquets. The greatest part about this job is that you didn't clean. You cleaned your station, and you left. They had the night crew came in, and that's all they did. The stewards came in, they cleaned the whole place. I never had to clean a dish.
Wow.
I was like, this is awesome.
So for anyone who's looking to get into the industry, so clearly there's jobs out there where all you do is come in and clean, and you get to know the industry that way through the safety and sanitation. And then there's some jobs where you don't have to do that. And like some examples of that are some bartenders in the night don't have to scrub their floors because a company comes in and scrubs the floor. So there's some things like that you just don't have to do, and that depends on the job. And then there's some jobs where you're doing everything throughout the entire thing. So let's talk about that first step into the industry, that first job, that bar backing job, that dishwashing job, that host job, whatever it might be. How long until you presume somebody can move into the next step? What's it going to take if you can get your foot in the door, and you know that you're a lifelong career somewhere else, and you're making the switch to hospitality, and you're just willing to get your foot in the door? What's realistic for someone who's looking to get their foot in the door for the hospitality industry until they can start getting to those higher level, higher paying positions?
It depends on A, the person, and B, what industry they're in. I mean, sure. If you're in like a, just a small pub, or you're in the hospital, a hotel, or if you're in a corporation, there's different timelines, I guess you could say. But it depends on their work ethic, and really that's the biggest one, is work ethic. If they have soft skills and they have work ethic, fast. They can move up very fast.
Right. So what's
There's a
fast?
lot
Would you say that's 2-3 months, 6 months, 2 years?
from dishwasher to a line cook. I've seen it done in a month.
Okay.
Um, and then from line cook to, I've seen, I can't tell you how many dishwashers I know that are now executive chefs. There's a lot of them out there. So that from that to executive chef, that's a decade, or 5 years. It takes a little bit of time and training and mentoring. It just, you have to get lucky. You have to, if you land on a place and you have a great work ethic and you work hard, they're going to notice that, and you're going to progress pretty fast. So 6 months, I'd say, it was, even in corporate America, if you're a go-getter, you can move pretty fast. Now, to get to like GM and executive chef, that takes a while. I would say that takes like 5 years.
Sure. And I completely agree from the all perspectives, but some examples for the front of house, whether you're going in to a hotel to work at the front desk, or you're going into a restaurant to be the host, or even a busser. One thing that you can do getting your foot in the door is the work ethic that Paul was just talking about, making sure that you're not standing up there during slow times on your phone, waiting for guests to come in. If you know that food needs to be run out of the kitchen, be proactive, get out there and start moving that food. If you, as a busser, brand new to the industry, you know how to do your job, you're focused on your job, start getting questions from guests at the tables about, hey, can I get some more water? Can I get a soda? Take the initiative of doing it yourself instead of just pawning it off on the server or waiting for the server passing it on. Try to find a way to show the rest of your team that you're willing to help out, rather than just sitting back and saying, nope, my job is only this, I'm only going to do this. And unless you're restricted from doing those things, which would be a really strange place, maybe a 5-star restaurant, or something that's only servers do this. But for the most part, your entry-level job, when you step above and beyond to help out in the simplest of ways, that's going to get recognized. And I think that's going to help you move up fast and get out of that entry-level position into a new position and get more eyes on you, watching you grow and watching you move up to those bigger positions. And I think it's a really easy transition into the hospitality industry.
I agree. And I would, the recommendation I would say is be multi-talented, be able to, hey, if you go up to your manager and say, you're doing a good job, if you're busting your butt, you're getting some good feedback, you say, hey, listen, I know I'm a dishwasher, but I'd like to do some busting around the house. I really would like to be cross-trained to do 2 different jobs. That makes you more valuable. That makes you more, I guess, permanent. You can stay a lot longer if you want to. So, but I that's what I did. I was very, very early in my career. I had a chef that says, if you don't know how to run the front of the house, you're not going to be a good chef. Now, is that true?
Right.
I'm not here to judge that, but I think
it
being
depends
multifaceted.
on how, it depends on how processed your job is. If you're told only do this, then but that seems like a strange leadership style to me. And I'd caution anybody who's in a program where you're not allowed to help other people. I don't see that you've got a lot of career growth there. So you mentioned experience, and this is really where my soapbox begins, is on defining experience. And one thing that I've noticed around New York is I've really gotten excited about testing out New York. Now that I'm here, I get to see more restaurants and see more service. Obviously not now with COVID, but in the past year, and as things are starting to open up. And I love it. I absolutely love the service. I love the food. I love the atmosphere. But at the same time, there's places that I go that the service is terrible, that the food's okay, that the atmosphere could use some refreshment. And I'm not seeing anything here that I haven't seen in Las Vegas, that I haven't seen in Dallas, that I haven't seen in Miami. And to be honest, I've been to a bar in Little Rock, Arkansas, where it was a small bar, and the service I received there was phenomenal. They were attentive. They got to know me. They paid attention to what I need. They made suggestions and all these things that you expect from a server. And so here's what I'm getting at is I see a lot of server positions in the New York area, and I'm sure it's like this in a lot of regions, that say New York experience required. What does that mean? Do you have any idea? You were here
Yeah, I do.
than I've been. What does that mean? Are
I
they
moved to New
referring
York.
to the crap service that I received on the Upper East Side, or are they referring to the amazing service that I received in Hell's Kitchen?
No,
Which service are
they're
they?
basically. I remember when I moved to New York, I could not understand it when I first got there.
Yeah.
It means that you have a thick skin. That's all it means. And nothing. It doesn't. It means that you're jaded. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, to me, it's it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
You need New York service. Well, I know people in middle of nowhere, like you said, Arkansas.
Mhm.
I'm in the Northeast. I'm up in Maine, and I've had some of the best service I've ever had, and some of the worst service I've ever had too. But
Sure, sure, yeah.
it is such ridiculous thing to put in there, like especially for the front of the house. I think it's in the kitchen. There's this. I think you know what it means. You're willing to work more than 40 hours.
Oh, so 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 here's where I want to get to the topic of this, which is finding a job in the hospitality industry. If you run into an example like I've seen, New York experience required, and you're like, well, I've waited tables in Las Vegas, I've waited tables in Los Angeles, I've waited tables in Salt Lake City, whatever you have done. Think about the experiences that you had in that position. And when you go into the interview, if somebody's short-sighted, they're going to go, well, you've never worked in New York City. Press them to say, what are you looking for? Is it the thick skin? Is it the ability to deal with guests that are, more tourist based? Well, I worked in Orlando and I can do this and this and this. Is it high volume? Well, I worked in Las Vegas and I can do this and this and this. Know what your skill sets are and really press the question of what does that experience mean that you're looking for? Did I work at a New York bar for 6 months and I was the worst person ever? Because I don't think you want to hire that person, but they have New York experience because they worked and they were terrible for 6 months. It's really pressing and taking control of that conversation when you go in for your interview so that you can learn what that employer is trying to get from somebody with, quote, experience, if in the application process they're not explaining what they're hoping for with that.
Yeah, I love it. It's like I need 10 years of experience for a position that's starting at the bottom.
Yeah, I recently read a meme online that was 4 years required for experience in XYZ programming, and all these programmers were commenting on there. They're like, that program's been out for a year and a half.
Yeah, I saw that
Like,
one. I was laughing. I was like, that pretty much sums it up because it's
uh,
you you can't hire. I mean, experience. There's no replacement for experience, but depends on what it is. I mean, I
mhm,
have great experience, waiting tables, but it might not translate to New York, and they might be right, but it might be vice versa.
yep.
I think it's such a blanket statement. I still to this day don't understand it.
No.
I think it
And
backfires. If
I've
anything.
seen things with front of house managers who were given the next position. They were promoted to GM because they had 10 years of front of house experience. I was like, I worked with them. Their front of house experience, but they stood in the middle of the dining room doing nothing for 10 years.
Yeah.
They didn't
Well, it's the same thing.
absorb experience.
Your best server doesn't make a great manager, and your worst server doesn't make a bad manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just
So
yeah.
no, it's good.
Go
So,
ahead.
so
Get in that one.
I want to go back to encouraging people to make this first step and to not be intimidated by something that says experience and flip the tables on them. And you've got to have an ability to be able to define that experience. And an application that stands out to me came to me from a woman who had traveled abroad for college, didn't have any work experience. And I don't mean any hospitality, no work experience, traveled abroad for college. But here's how she made her resume for me relevant. In her application, she listed under experience, check this one out, Paul, patience. I learned patience from the humble people of Greece and the ability to meet everyone at the pace that they wanted to be served in. Passion for food. I learned to share the love of food while in Italy. I heard servers, bartenders, and locals describe food like it was a member of their family, and it made me want to share that with them. Work ethic. I gained an amazing work ethic in Spain as I had to simultaneously work to translate my second language while learning to complete my education. This person had no technical work experience, but described to me how they were patient and why. where they developed a passion for food, and what their work ethic was going to be like the way they grinded through college trying to work through a second language. What do you think of that as somebody who might list that as their experience?
Awesome if it gets right, it gets in front of the right person.
Yeah, and I'm the right person. I mean,
Yeah, I would be too. I would love that. But
right. Yeah, I love that. And that's something that I want to encourage anybody who's out there trying to fill out an application or a resume, and you're like, well, I don't have any quote experience. Think about your time that you've spent in a restaurant. Think about the entry-level positions that Paul and I talked about. You're going to have one of those to start off with, and that's okay. You can move up quick, but to get your foot in the door, you have to define your own experience, and not by a timeline of I worked from XYZ restaurant from this date to this date. What have you done? You might have done it in school, in college, in the neighborhood, volunteering. You might have done something, find the experience in that, and apply it to the job that you're working towards.
yeah, absolutely.
So would you say that that person had the right experience for the hospitality industry, even though they hadn't worked in the industry before?
They have the soft skills, brother. That's what it is, and that is the definition of soft skills. That's what we want. We could train anybody to do stuff. That's not the hard part. I mean, well, training is hard. I'm not trying to minimize that.
I'm not offended
but
by that at all. And I take
it's
training,
easier to train hard skills, which are where to place a knife, where to cut this, how to do this, how to hold a knife, than it is to train somebody how to be nice.
Yep.
How to be genuine, how to care, and that stuff you can't. I mean, I don't think you can. Maybe you can a little bit, but maybe you can bring it out of somebody. But it's really difficult to train soft skills.
Right. Yeah, and I know every employer out there can think of people that can't use the point of sale, but that's not going to come from experience. If you have a different point of sale from somebody else, you're going to have to retrain the point of sale no matter what point of sale they worked on. So are you being specific to what point of sale is required? And then if you do that, man, it's going to be so hard to hire people if you only hire people that have used the exact point of sale that you've used. You have to
especially that nowadays they change so fast.
Yeah, you have to hire people that don't have the specific experience that you're referring to. You've got to train some of that, and you've got to move through, and you've got to find people that are right for your atmosphere. So put your head in a interviewer's mind for a moment. If someone's good at interviewing, could it mean that they've spent a lot of time interviewing? What does that mean?
I think being good at interviewing is just kind of just getting a personal dialogue going. I don't think it's asking, can you do this? Can you do that? Because you're looking for the answer, looking for the right answer, I guess you could say. I mean, there is.
And they're going to give it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially if you've been doing this long enough, been enough interviews. I think it's just a rapport. Some of the greatest interviews I've ever been on was just, asking me what CD's in her car, like it's just like, what kind of music do you like? And it's not thinking that they just want to hear me talk. That's really it is. It's trying to get me to open up and it kind of throw me off guard a little bit to kind of open up and share my more, because we all put that, face on for the interview and be professional. Yeah. Thank you. I've been working on that all day. So I think that's really the getting the interviewee, the future employee, to open up and show their true colors. It's hard. It's not easy. There's some. I mean, I know interviewers that could tell if that person had a drink the day before. Like there's some really professional guys out and girls out there that can kill
like
it.
Every interview I've ever been on, I had a drink the day before. I guarantee I had a drink the day before.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. A few interviews I've done, they've had a drink right before.
Oh, that's not what I meant, but okay. That's funny.
So yeah, I think the good ones that know how to do it. I don't consider myself a great interviewer. I think I'm pretty good at it. I can read between the lines. I think that's more my skill set is, you can read a resume and you can see kind of, everybody can write whatever they want.
Sure.
But a good, when you have over 100, 200 that go across your desk in a quarter, you get kind of good at reading between the lines. When you say, there's something ain't right here. And then that's where, if you bring them in, you ask them the questions, and then you see their reaction.
Yep.
And that's kind of where you have to whittle it down to figure out if they're a good fit. Because I'm telling you right now, all the stuff we're talking about as an employer, if I'm hiring people, it's all about fit. It's all about fit.
Totally agree. And if you're interviewing somebody, be cautious about the career interviewers. It means that they spend a lot of time in interviews and not that much time on the job. Like I'm going to be very open and helpful to somebody who's not interviewing well, going, you know what? I don't want somebody who's good at interviews. I want somebody who's good at these things that I need them to be good at. So just be really cautious about being overly overwhelmed from somebody who's good at interviews. Maybe they spend a little bit too much time interviewing, and you need to look for somebody who's ready for the job. So you guide that and make sure that that's happening the right way. So final question, or final thing for you. And what's the one thing, or for you, what are the three things that someone wants to consider when applying for a job in the hospitality industry?
I think the third one to think about, but I got kind of two off the top of my head.
Okay.
One kind of fits together. So I'd say fit/culture.
Yes, baby girl.
My phone is at 1%.
Okay. You can charge that phone on the charger right there.
Welcome to life, people.
Yeah.
We all have families. We're living the dream.
The 5-year-old has 1%. I don't know if you can hear that, but has a 1%.
Oh, I heard the 1%.
Oh man.
Yep.
We got it fixed. All right. Sorry. So you're telling me about the three things, three things that somebody wants to consider applying for the hospitality industry.
Yeah. I'd say, and this is going to be kind of the same thing. So I almost have it like fit/culture.
Okay.
You know, is this going to fit who you are? Are you a very outgoing person? Is this like a themed restaurant? You know what I mean? Are you not an outgoing person and they sing in the middle of their shift? Like that might not be the best fit for you. Do they believe in, like, if they're big into the environment or certain parts of their environment? Are you too? So I think that fit/culture is one of the biggest things. And then number two would be the investment. And this is a communication that has to come from both sides. This is where places get in, into that gray area. Is like, be an open book. Say, listen, we have 30 hours for you. Is that going to work? Or, if you're going into a place, it's like, I can only work 10, 15 hours a week because I'm going to school. That investment is huge. I need, because I want you to be here when you're here, obviously, right?
Right.
So I think that if you're looking for a job, make sure that you fit the culture and that you can fit the timeline or the investment you can put, the time you can put into working there.
I like that. So you got two, and I think I can add the third one on here. The first one is making sure that you're ready to work with people, and it's not easy. Making sure that you're ready to put on that face and be outgoing and be a people person. Make sure that the restaurant you're going to fits the style that you want to be in, that you're not just throwing applications everywhere and hoping that one of them takes you, that you need to be a little proactive about deciding where to go. And maybe that third one is on the interview. Make sure that you're interviewing them as well. Ask the questions for how they're going to accommodate, and don't let them tell you that, oh, this is our management style. Well, ask about questions about, show me examples of that. Same way that they're going to ask you about your experience, ask the interviewer about their style and what they expect and what they do. So turn the tables and make sure that you're part of the interview, not just being somebody who's interviewed. Anything to add to that?
No, I love it.
Fantastic.
That's A+.
Those are our three tips for getting your foot in the door for the hospitality industry. I think anybody who's watching can clearly see where my passion lies, and that's going to be on you interviewing the people that you're looking for a job. Take care of number one, and expect that business to take care of you. I feel my experience comes in many forms, and I think it's up to you to be able to show how your experience can be applied to the task in front of you. Employers, I strongly recommend that you consider the tasks that you expect to be done and find people that can do those tasks, whether they've done them before or not. Find people that know how to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish, and not just put a body on your schedule. We'd love to hear from you if you're looking for work, if you found work, if you're looking for new ways to find people and interview people. We'd love to help you out. Make a comment, leave a like, ask us questions. We'll follow up, help you find the right person to improve your industry, your business, or if you're the one looking for the job, your career. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.